As in many of my paint jobs, I began by base coating every part of the model in its corresponding color. In order to get a smooth finish, apart from slightly diluting the paint and applying 2 or 3 thin coats depending on the color, I made sure each layer was properly dry before applying the next. Not waiting the appropriate time can result in the paint lifting up and piling up in gunks, which will need sanding or scraping in order to be cleaned. When it came to the highlights, there was a lot of space to fill in, and since I wanted to get this done in one sitting, instead of working my way up through multiple colors, I used a scratchy highlight pattern to create noise and add more interest to the wider areas. With the paint being slightly diluted, the color had to be built up through multiple layers. Leaving random spots here and there with only 1 or 2 coats of paint will create variety, which if too messy I could top off with a glaze of the same color to pull them all together. For the leather details, I took a similar approach, though in order to incorporate more bluish tones into them, I added more and more sky blue into my dark brown as I built up the highlights. This turned out very whitish in the end, but a brown filter through a glaze was enough to bring back the value, which I then followed with a wash of black so to keep more faithful to the original colors. While with the brown glaze I was looking to tint the greyish highlights, with this black wash I'm looking to do that, plus have the paint deposit into the recesses to create shadows and definition.
I don't wanna say anything, 'cause if I do I might say the wrong words. Oh no. So keep my mouth shut and not listen, afraid I lose you if I didn't.
The hair, with its already modeled in texture, was as simple as applying a wash over the turquoise base, and once dry, top it off with a dry brush in the opposite direction of the strands, so to avoid paint getting into the recesses. To paint the skin, the color selection was as follows. A thin skin with a pinch of dark sea blue to darken it down was applied as the base. For highlights, I added increasing amounts of basic skin tone into the previous mix, but before it leaned too much into the basic skin tone, I furthered the highlights adding wolf grey. While for the highlight placement, I followed my gut and knowledge, placing the model under my lamp and moving it around gives us a realistic idea of how the light would fall over the different parts of the body. Taking pictures of this and having them at hand while painting is recommended if you consider yourself a beginner in the subject.
Don't know what to do anymore. I'm out of options, nothing's working. I'm out of service. Come help me now, I'm fucking nervous. I'm trying but can't scratch the surface. So keep my mouth shut and not listen. Afraid I lose you if I didn't. Can we find what we're missing and compromise? So keep my shoes on and not leaving. We're on thin ice, way into season. Can we find a single reason not to say goodbye? Oh, if I said what's on my mind, would you stay with me tonight? If I said what's on my mind, would that make you run
Just like with every other part of the model where I applied these stylistic highlights, I topped off the skin with a glaze using the base color of the trousers, both to blend the highlights and to provide the pale skin with more liveliness thanks to the pinkish tone. The tattoos were recessed on the skin, so they were quite easy to paint. For the line work inside and at the edges, I made use of all the brush control tips I showcased in my last video. And to finish off, the face. Usually a bigger scale allows for more detail. However, since this was a quick one-day paint job, I kept it simple, following the same steps as in a smaller scale. I'm building up the highlights using the same color mixes as for the body. I focus on the bridge of the nose, forehead, cheekbones, jawline, upper lip and chin. If you'd like a step-by-step explanation of the process, please check my face paint tutorial, which I'll link above. After building up the highlights, I brought back the liveliness with the same glaze as for the body, but before gave it an extra glaze of an intermediate tone within my skin tone mix, to further improve the blending, since the face will be the first thing people will look at. The painting of the eyes began with some eyeshadows by glazing black. This was my first time doing this and it wasn't bad, but at the same time it wasn't great. The eyes themselves began by blocking out the area as well as the modeled eyelashes with black. I chose to use a stronger tone since I wanted to represent mascara. With the eyeball blacked out, I painted the white of the eye, aiming to leave a black rim around it which will better help frame the eye and sell the eyelashes. Because I was working on a bigger scale, I couldn't avoid painting the irises before adding the pupils. And with that done, I had plenty space to add a white speck to represent a reflection, which gave the eye a final punch of realism. Thank you for watching the video till the end. This was a bit of an experiment from which I've learned many things. If you'd like to see more big scale models in the future, do let me know in the comments. There won't be an upload next week, but I'll return the one after with new things. Hope to see you then.